Welcome to the Humble Pie Podcast. This is the podcast that is life admin for your soul.
My name is Teresa.
And I'm Mush.
And we are your hosts. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us once again. This is episode 4 of the Humble Pie Podcast Season 2.
Woo! Hi everyone!
And this season is awesome so far. Thank you guys for listening. We are having so much fun. I hope you're enjoying listening to our conversations as well. So, this week we have special guests with us. Korede. Hi. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for agreeing to come on to...
Thanks for thinking of me. Yeah. Like, honestly, I was so surprised. I was like, really?
Yeah.
So, as per usual, tell us something about yourself.
Okay. I am what they would call an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I hate that word.
What they would call.
I hate using that word because I feel like it's so overdone, overused and stuff like that. But I don't know, there's the modern word for what I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I own my own educational services company. Nice. And we provide all manner of educational services to parents and other educational groups. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, amazing.
We love intellectuals. We love entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We love people doing bits and bobs. Yes. Come on, black woman.
Thank you.
So, this episode, we are discussing Jehovah Adonai. Or I think it can be said the other way around as well, Adonai Jehovah, which means the Lord our Master. Or... I know the word master can be a bit triggering sometimes. So the Lord our Father. But I'll explain the master later on. But the Lord our Father. So like many of God's names in the Bible, it started in the Old Testament.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, we first see it in Deuteronomy 10 verses 17. And it says, for the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality nor takes a bribe. And what I'm trying to get across here is God is asserting himself as a leader, that he is a father, he is the head, and everything comes underneath him basically. Yeah. He's King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He's not moved by anything that goes on. Basically,
I like that it says he accepts no partiality and accepts no bribes. Like he has no favorites. There's nothing you can give him he doesn't already have. Yeah. He's at the top of the chain.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, and also that's not to say that we are far away from him as well. That also means that we have a personal relationship with God, which is two-sided. That's where I want to throw the master into it, because in the biblical times there was always like a master and the servant. But the master and the servant, it was the master had to take care of the servant. It wasn't like you do this for me and I won't compensate you properly and you will live out here and you just about I won't even provide clothes for your back. I just give you your salary and like bare minimum, and that's it. So I just also want to quickly read Psalm 123 verses 2, and once again I'm reading the New King James Version, and it says, behold, as the eyes of the servants look to the hand of their masters, as the eyes of the maids to the hand of their mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God until he has mercy on us. So once again, comparing the relationship we have with God, like a servant and a master, it's a loving relationship, it's a caring relationship, and God gives us the power to do what we're able to do on this earth, which is serve each other as well as serving God. So it all trickles down from him. So master is not such a bad word if you look at it in that context. So but that's just a little kind of background that I wanted to give. But Korede obviously chose this subject, so we're intrigued. We want to know, why did you choose Adonai?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because I think that we're used to God being, like, we know God to be the healer, to be the provider. There's the parts of God that we kind of emphasize, that are amplified in church, but we kind of shy away from God being the master because of the connotations that we find in an individualistic society. So we live in a society where individualism, being this your own person, doing what you want, when you want, how you want, is what is like celebrated, deemed to be what you're aiming towards. But to suggest that God is our master suggests that we're not quite in charge, and that's problematic for a lot of people. That's true. Yes, exactly. Myself included, especially because when I gave my life to Christ, for example, I thought that was like one and done, if that makes sense. Like when this idea that you become a Christian and that's it. But like over time, I realized that I actually had to, like, by saying I wanted to be a Christian, I started the journey of relinquishing power little by little.
Oh my gosh, that's a word. Relinquishing power, that is so true.
And that was the journey of saying, so it's like me signing up to be like, I want to be a part of this, but the actual reality of what it looks like took time, or it's taking time. So God would be like, okay, this needs to be released to me, and I'm like, no, yeah, Lord, like I need the will on that one still, you know. And so this was a hard one for me, because I'm like Miss Independent. I do, I'm cool with being me all by myself.
You're very like, cool, I've got that covered, I'm doing my own thing, you can join or not, like exactly, I'm going anyway.
It's the entrepreneurial spirit.
Exactly. So this is something that I say I really tussled with, I really, really struggled with, because it was like, yeah, Lord, like have your way, but not here, like not in this, not on this particular thing. Like I'm gonna still do me on that, or like take the wheel, but I'm gonna like give some ad libs on the side. Like I think we should go this way and that. Like that.
Backseat driver.
100%. That's like me. I'm like, God, like I know you said you know what you're doing, but I don't think you've considered this and this. Like
that is so true. I honestly feel like that's like the realest. Like being a Christian is about constantly being like, God, I feel like we should. But did you see that thing we dismissed? And God's like, I know where I'm going. And then when you get there, you're like, you really knew where you were going. I was out here about to stop at like
exactly
some little thing when you're bringing me to so much more.
Honestly. So I chose that because that's what my constant journey and my constant like battle almost is really with me and God. So yeah,
that's great.
Amazing. So, Korede, I know you did some work to look into this, some exploring. So tell us more.
Yeah. So I looked into Adonai and found that, of course, we know it to be master or owner. So and as you already said, Teresa, it's this like concept of like in those times there was a lord, a master over the servants, and we have a negative view of it because we think about a master as somebody that is mean, really, to those that he subjects, those that are below him.
Like he's taking advantage of them in some way.
Exactly. And even in the Bible, we have many examples of masters that were not good, right?
Yes.
So it's like, like God is supposed to be good. Like, how is he good? And then he has this negative.
And it's a name he gave himself as well, right?
So it's like, where was he going with this?
But he's the original, don't forget.
Exactly. Just like he's like the King of Kings, and then we have negative kings. Like there was a way he intended a master to be that unfortunately didn't seem to like flow or translate to those who were supposed to be masters. But I looked into it a little bit more, and I thought about what a master should be. So that a master has a vested interest, right, for the things that he owns, the things that are below him, to flourish in order for what he's doing to work, right? So like if he, like for example, I thought about myself as in business, like I'm kind of in charge of what I'm doing, right? And even though I have people that that work for me, and I have a vested interest for them to do well, so that my business does well. The thing that I own does well, right? And I felt like if we look at it that way, as a master, God has a vested interest in us, his people, right, succeeding and fulfilling our potential, so that his world and everything, his ultimate plan comes together. And that's the master that I believe that God was really trying to portray when he called himself Adonai.
I felt that in my soul.
Love, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's. I love how you kind of flipped it, because so often we'll think about the master-servant relationship or kind of head and subordinate relationship as one that's about control. Yeah, that's about limiting the person below you so that they stay within whatever confines you have. But the picture you've just described is about actually how God is thinking about, how do I get this person to flourish? How do I get them to be all that they can be, so that ultimately it all works together.
And the surrender and obedience every time. I'm sure we've mentioned it before, but it's like the journey with God is always surrender. Pull yourself down, get rid of your ego, lay down, cast it all onto you, give God unction over all of your life. Seriously,
free reign, because then you'll. Because I think somebody said to me recently, like, if you want to know how something works, you go to the designer. So like, say your Apple phone's broken, you might just go to the corner on the shop around the corner, or you go to the Apple store, or if not, then you might go to the manufacturer. But imagine if you could go straight to Steve Jobs and be like, this thing doesn't work. You could go straight to the source, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, did you know you could do all this other stuff with it? There's all this functionality. I intended this to work that way. So I feel like with God and us, it's like, it can feel like we're giving away our control, we're giving away our power. But actually, if you go back to the original designer, who God made you to be, and actually knows what is best for you, how you'll flourish, how you'll be your most. When you go back to him, like, that's when you'll get the most information about actually what you're supposed to be. And so I guess if he's like the Adonai you just described, that's what he wants for us. To surrender so that he can give us everything. Surrender what little we think we have that we're holding so tightly onto. Surrender that so that he can give us what will actually make us flourish, what will actually make us fly.
Yes, exactly. Like, ultimately, it's all about like his glory, as in making sure that he gets all the glory, and he can only really do that when those who represent him, like we who are the people who subscribe to following him, are also like a light, that we are flourishing. He doesn't want us to be dim, he actually needs us to be. He says, let your light shine. He actually is like, nah, y'all need to flourish. Like, you need to be out there and be seen and represent me in the way that is befitting of who he is. So
that reflects
exactly. So that goes so contrary to what we believe as a master,
Seriously.
So contrary. But like, I think like you said, really, like everything that God created, he had a good intention for it. Before, unfortunately, humans, we kind of take something, we warp it, and then share it with the world. That's what we do, right?
And it's so interesting because we take it, we warp it ourselves, and then we're like, well, God, why did you do this? And he's like, that's y'all. That was not me. So thank God for grace. He must really just be like, you guys just keep doing it wrong.
I know. I don't know how he contends with us, but he does. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And I suppose that's another side of him being a master, in terms of like that nurturing side. There needs to be a care to bring us up, and when we fall, pick us up again. To make sure that we become like all he intended us to be. And that's really, really amazing. That's really my understanding.
No, that's really powerful. Because I think if you imagine a world where the people in power saw their position as a mandate to get everybody below them to flourish, the world would look so different.
Very different.
Because so much about the people in power is about either one, maintaining their power, and two, like stifling the people below them so that they never get as much power.
Or asserting it in ways that they don't need to, and maybe ruling over people with fear or with like an iron fist, just tough.
Yeah.
everyone.
Intimidation.
And literally, that is not what a master is. A master should be protecting and providing for people. It should be bringing them into the fold as well. Like, come closer to me, or come near me, or like you said, teacher, learn from me. Yeah.
So God is our like owner, and of course it's something that we could struggle with because we all want to be our own person, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And if we know that we've been bought with a price, so we know that our salvation was bought with a price, then essentially he wrote it he actually wrote it down. It was just like, I bought you with a price. Nobody really realized it's like
actually
it's like there. It's like right there. So our freedom, we are free, but we're free from the curse. That's what's happening. Like, we were bound by that. Now we're no longer bound by that. We're free from it. But we're not just free to like just roam around like in circles, going round and round. He now has put our freedom within the safe boundaries of his word, if that makes sense. Like that freedom of being within him, like going to him, understanding more about ourselves and the word by going to understand God more. That's the kind of freedom, and that's the ownership that he's talking about. Like, I've saved you from the evil one, the bad things, and I've brought you into this pretty safe space. Like as a parent, like when your child is young, the freedom for them is within your home. Like, you can let them run around within your home. That's safe. But you wouldn't like say that like, oh, like you can go outside now and start running. Like, that's not freedom. Not really. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And so God, like, when he talks about being our like owner, it's like our shepherd. He's like, he's keeping us safe from the things that are like the prowler in the night, the evil one, the things that can harm us and hurt us. And that's what I see to be like an owner. I suppose another aspect would be the fact that we don't actually own anything, do we? Like, no. Like in real life, we came with nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will also leave with nothing.
Yes.
So we are borrowing everything. He has allowed us the time here, our body here. The only thing we really are is a spirit, right?
Yes.
Our spirit is the one thing that
will
us.
take with us.
And it will transcend this life that we're living.
So everything else is like borrowed, including like even when we say we've bought this, or bought a house, or bought clothes. Not really. Like in the long run, all of these things have to be given back. And so
that's so true.
We even in the way like life is structured, it's very apparent that we're not the owners, even though we like to believe we are. Even though that's what society tells us. Like get your own this. Nah, in real life, he's the owner, and in Genesis, when he said let them rule, let them have dominion, that dominion means to rule. It doesn't mean to own. We don't own the earth, we're just like stewards of it. We're helping, we're doing it on behalf of God. And that is like the other side of Adonai, like actually realizing that he owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills. Like, that's the God that we serve. He owns it all, and he made it clear, but no one wants to listen.
I like that you said stewards of it, because it reminds me of you, Mush. This is obviously going completely off subject, but I know you said you care so much about the environment and all that stuff.
Stewarding our planet.
Stewarding our planet. It just cast my mind to that. And it's like the responsibility that we have here, the responsibility that God has given us when it comes from him, it comes to us, his servants, to carry it out.
True. Exactly. And I guess that kind of ties into, what you were saying about running your own company and having people that you want to flourish so that the company flourishes. I guess like God wants us to flourish as his children so that all of creation, all of nature flourishes, right? So it ties into both him being an owner, him owning everything that's around us because we can't take it with us. But even within that, he's given us the mandate to like partake in that ownership in a way and like influence the condition of the stuff. Even though we don't own it, he's still kind of, because he's our master, we have the mandate from him to then be masters of other things.
I think that somebody who really understood Adonai in the Bible was David. Like all over Psalms, he's just Adonai, God everywhere, Adonai, Adonai. Because And we see that in his life. If we look at David's life and how he was this great king, or the one that conquered this and did that, it was actually as a result of him realizing that I'm not in charge. Like, I'm gonna go to God and ask for this. He used to ask God all the time, should I go to this battle? Should I? He realized that I'm not in charge here, and if I'm going to win, I need God to I need backup. I need him on my side, you know. And so like all of Psalms is just filled with like him talking about Adonai. So in Psalms 147 verse 5, the word says, "Great is our Lord and mighty in power. His understanding is infinite." Like, that is how David saw God. He realized that this is the Adonai, this is the owner, this is the master. And from that, he realized, if I'm going to get anything, if I'm going to make it in this life, I need that his understanding, because he knows. Remember you were saying, Mish, like how God can see, like we think that we can see where to go. Actually, God can see the full picture, and from that we can then learn from that, and that takes us into that the understanding of him being our teacher and our guide. So if we want the Adonai that is like our teacher, we need to understand him as our master first, as the owner first, and then realize from that he can be our teacher. He can then guide us, because if he's not your master, he's not coming to tell you that, oh, you should move this way or that way, because you haven't submitted your life to him. You haven't accepted that he is
acknowledged that he is in charge, and acknowledged that he owns everything. Oh my gosh, Korede, you're really spilling your old.
Really, seriously,
you've really like opened this up.
Breaking it down. It's your line of work. It has to be. It's your line of work. It has to be, because this is making so much sense.
It's just like God, though, to be like the person who's going to break down what it means to be like a master, an owner, and a teacher would be somebody who does that.
Literally,
look at
all
God,
of it,
y'all. Look at God. But yeah, sorry, you were just about to tell us about God as a teacher.
Yeah, no, it's the bit that we're like, wow, you know, God show. We love saying God show us the way, you know, show us how to go this way, and we read in the Word that He will be a lamp unto our feet and all that wonderful thing. But like, we have to realize that there is a requirement before because God is a gentleman. Like, the Holy Spirit is a gentleman. He doesn't just come and say, do this, do that. It's like he only comes when he's invited, you know. And where that the way we show that we invited God is by submitting. So that's the requirement first. Once we've done that, we can say, okay, God, like, I've submitted this to you. Can you now show me the way? Show me this way or that way? And I think David is just the perfect example of that throughout his entire life. Every battle, everything he did was asking God first. Always.
True. He always ran back to God, even when he stumbled. First place, straight back to God. I would like. I feel like sometimes for me personally, when I stumble, or if I know, you know, I've not necessarily walked in complete alignment with God, I tend to want to hide. A bit like Adam and Eve, you want to hide, clothe yourself, and be like, oh God, nothing to see here. I love how David just run and be like, I've done it again. Lord, look at me. Like, God, give him kudos for that.
So read your Psalms, guys.
I think that's why he was a man after God's heart, because people see David, in real life, if we break down David's life, he had many mares. Like, he had many moments where he messed up. And so like in real life, you're like, that was kind of after God's heart. Like, he killed, he committed adultery, he just all manner of things. But I think God knew as humans that's what we're capable of. He understood that. So when he said he was a man after his own heart, it was somebody who understood who God was and put him in that place in his life. That was what it was. Yes, we're going to stumble.
Look at her.
Of course we're going to stumble. But God is like, come to me when you stumble. Run to me when you stumble. I will show you the way out of this. And he always did that. And that is what God wants from us. That's the example of David that he was trying to push when he said, this is a man after my heart. You know?
That is so true, because God knows about us already. Like, we sometimes try to deny, I'm not that bad, I'm okay. So when we stumble, we're kind of surprised, like shook, like, oh man, I'm weak in that area. Like, I thought I was stronger than that. And God's like, I am not surprised. Come back to me with it. Let me show you, let me teach you. I think that's such a stumble that like the devil uses against us. Look what you did. Look what you did. God won't accept you. But God is not surprised. He's like, I had to send my son. I knew what I was doing. Like, I knew what you needed.
Yeah, so I thought I'd like end with a verse that I felt like encompassed all of the different sides of Adonai. So in Deuteronomy 9:26 it says, "Therefore I prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord God, do not destroy your people and your inheritance, whom you have redeemed through your greatness, whom you have brought out of Egypt with a mighty hand." Now here, this was Moses when he was interceding on behalf of the Israelites. They were, in today's terms, moving mad, right? Because they had come out of Egypt and God had saved them from slavery, and they were like, we want to go back. I mean, if I was God, I too would have been like, okay, just get rid of all of you, because to be honest, I just saved you guys. You guys were complaining for like 400 years. You now get out, and now you say you want to go back.
I want to go back.
Nah, forget it. All of you are cancelled. All of you.
It's a no.
I know, right? And so Moses was like, don't do it, God. Like, remember who you are, you know? He was like, you saved them, and you redeemed them. So he was talking about Adonai there. So he owns them, obviously. We already know that. He redeemed them, he saved them. And then at the end, he's the one that used his mighty hand to show them the way out.
Yeah.
So that was him being like their teacher. You know? So he's their master there. He is their owner there, but he's also their way out, their teacher. And that, I think, is just all encompassing of, like, shows God in all of his glory. It shows all the different aspects of Adonai, and yeah, I just think it's just really wonderful.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, completely. Now I feel like I need to go read Psalms and Deuteronomy.
Yes.
Because you both picked up verses on Deuteronomy.
Yes.
So now we come to the life admin section of today's podcast.
Yes.
And this week I realised we have 10 weeks exactly left of 2019. 10 weeks. Yes, ladies, 10 weeks.
Ooh, they can see our face right now.
I wish you could see. They were both like, what? I know, 2019 has been rushing.
Yes.
I don't know where she's wanting to go, but she is on a mission to get somewhere, because I swear it was March last week. And then now it's November next week, and I'm like, but what?
Yeah.
Anyways, God is good.
Yes, he is.
So in this week's life admin, it's a bit of a challenge to you guys, both to Teresa and Korede in the room, and you guys listening, that there are 10 weeks left. So I would encourage you to pick 10 things that you really want to see happen in 2019.
Yes.
And like maybe take some time and pray about it. And I would suggest not like the huge big things of like, I need to get married, I need to have a baby, like not things like that, but just milestones that you want, like you know, I'm gonna take my mum out for an afternoon tea. I'm gonna make sure I catch up with this friend. I'm gonna, whatever it is you want, have a manicure. Choose 10 things that you're like, I want to get done in 2019. And then also write down a list of 10 things you want to see for 2020.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I feel like 10's a nice little magic number. When I saw that, I was like, yes. So I'm going to share with you one of the 10 things that I want to see happen in 2019. And they don't know this, so I'm just surprising them. But Korede and T, you're going to need to give me one. Oh my gosh. You knew it was coming.
I did.
Just one thing each that you want to see in 2019. Yeah. So for me, I definitely want to take my parents out on like a really nice fancy dinner and like give them a treat. I feel like this year I've been really like growing in myself and focusing on myself, which is not a bad thing, but I am so blessed that both my parents are still here, that they're just such wonderful people. So I want to make a conscious effort to do something for them. So that's one of my 10 for 2019.
Lovely. I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope so. So, ladies.
Okay. I want to rearrange some space in my room, I think.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. It's not grand. It's not like interior design or Was that Channel 3 show something in 60 seconds?
60 second
makeup.
makeover.
60 minutes
Yeah.
second. You just put a mirror up and you're like, done. Yeah, so yeah, just a little organize some space in my room. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Korede?
I like that. I definitely need to. In the next 10 weeks, right?
10 weeks.
The next 10 weeks, I'd like to get back into a really good routine. I think I've really fallen out of a routine over the last couple of months, and I really want to get back into a really structured. It's my happy place. I can get into a structure. In the morning I'm doing this, in the afternoon I'm doing this, in the evening I'm doing this. That would make me very happy if I can get that back in 10 weeks.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, ladies, you said it
Challenge
out loud.
accepted.
We said it to each other. We said it to all the Humble Pie family. So now
Sorry, accountable.
Now so I'll keep it accountable. We'll discuss in January. Yeah?
Maybe pictures will follow.
Okay, Mum and Dad,
I am my new room. No, you're not gonna see it. And Korede with your planner.
Yeah, this is
You want to see the planner, see it happening. Well, that has brought us to the end of today's podcast. We obviously have to say a huge thank you to Korede for coming, for joining us, for bringing so much sauce. Much sauce. Like you really expanded my understanding of Adonai today. So before we go, we always ask our guests to give us the one parting piece of wisdom. So Korede, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I think I would say, as an educator, I think I should draw from that.
Yeah.
I think I'd say stay inquisitive. Stay questioning things, asking questions, and always remember to keep learning. I think we think that once we finish school, education is over. But no, we are forever students.
Yeah.
And so stay inquisitive.
This has been the Humble Pie Podcast.
Thank you for joining us. I have been Mush.
And I have been Teresa.
We would love to hear from you, so send us an email with your thoughts to podcast.humble.pie@gmail.com.
We are also on Instagram at podcast.humble.pie, and you can find us on YouTube.
Just search for the Humble Pie Podcast.
Thank you for listening.
Spread the word and be blessed.